What is up, guys, and welcome to another edition of Market Marauders, beating the market one trade at a time. For you, Market Marauders investment channel helps you to find the best deals in the market. That's something you're interested in. Make sure you hit that subscribe and that thumbs up. Definitely helps the YouTube algorithm promote the videos. All right, so we'll be talking about my option picks for the week. So let's jump into it. So first we got the first one is Adobe Incorporated. So they ended the week at $487. So they went up $1 after hours. Pretty good metric for them, and very interesting to see this company continue to grow. Some background information on them. This is their previous earnings, so I'm just going to jump into it. It says their third quarter fiscal year 2020 financial highlights. They do have another one around the corner since this one came out in September. Didn't really see the date, but I think the date is coming up potentially next week for that earnings. So, but going over their last one, they hit a milestone at $10 billion, which they surpassed. So that's an amazing metric for them. It says Adobe achieved record quarterly revenue of $3.23 billion for its third quarter fiscal year 2020, which represents 14% year-over-year growth. So that's a very good metric for them. Digital media segment revenue was about $2.34 billion, which represented 19% growth year-over-year. Their digital media annualized recurring revenue, or ARR as they're calling it, increased $458 million quarter over quarter to $9.63 billion, existing the quarter, representing 24% year-over-year growth. Digital experience segment revenue was $838 million, and digital experience subscription revenue was $729 million, which represents a 7% increase. There's some other metrics down here, but overall, they had a very fantastic quarter. Now, if they'll surpass these metrics on this previous or this next earnings, I don't know, but I think they're projected to be pretty high as well for this next quarter coming up. I say that because Adobe is a software that everyone uses. Whether you work for a Fortune 500 company or just a regular company, or you work at home, Adobe has a large subset of products that are out there, and especially with the working from home initiative, I think they definitely were able to take advantage of the work at home atmosphere. People getting Adobe for the first time, people reinstalling Adobe, people updating Adobe, people switching over to Adobe. I think it was just a large the right product at the right time sort of thing. I think that has not stopped. Now there still is a vaccine that has been approved in Europe, but it's not been approved in the U.S. So there are hopes on the horizon that we're going to have a vaccine and people are going to go back to work, but I don't think people are going to go back to work immediately. So I think a company like Adobe is still going to be able to benefit from all that stuff going on. So with that being said, we're going to go into the background, which is the options side. We're going to do with January 15th expiration. And I think Adobe definitely has the potential to be a $500 stock, in my personal opinion. So just bear in mind, this is just for educational purposes. It's not financial advice. If you want to contact a financial advisor, please contact certified licensed CPA. This is just for educational purposes. So just bear that in mind. So I think between 490 to 500 is a good expiration, good strike price with the expiration of January 15th. So you can pay between $2,160 to $1,705. So these are a little pricey on the side of options, and that's just because Adobe is pricey itself, just being almost $500 per stock. So that's not uncommon to see an option that high. What I've seen, just from trading options, is the more expensive the stock is itself, the more expensive the options are. So if you look at options for like Amazon, they'll be a lot more expensive than options for a cheaper company. Now Amazon is trading at like 3,000 or something a share, so their options are a lot more expensive, way more expensive than ones even under this one. So just bear that in mind. If you're new to options, that's kind of how options are. Going to the next one, we have ticker sign AZO, and that is for AutoZone. Now, AutoZone is bullish at the time of this video. Been a pretty big run up, just continuing to go up So they've had, about 3 peaks, I would say. So the first peak, I would say they ran up. They went here to this 1,170 mark. Then they fell back down, bounced off of this moving average 50, which is this purple line, and then went back up to about 1,161. Bounced back off of this line, which would have been 1,153 at the time, and then came back up. And it seems to, follow this trend each time. The bounce back up is a lot smaller, but overall still continuing to go higher. I would like to see it go back up to touch this $1,170 value, but we'll see after earnings if that happens. So they do have an earnings coming up. The earnings is going to be on December 8th, so make sure you stay tuned and look for that. Now, earnings, if you're new to earnings, in general, you can go listen to them. They're free. You'll just go to a link like this. You'll click on it. They have the number actually on here if you like to just call in. It tells you the time of the meeting, all that other good information that you can listen to. Now, AutoZone is basically everywhere, in my opinion. I've seen them, especially in the South. But I do live in the place where they actually have their headquarters. So, I do live in Tennessee, so it makes sense for them to be, all the way down here. But, I definitely believe that, the company as a whole is going to continue to grow. I think, people are more and more starting to work on cars. Now, I don't know how that transition is going to work when more people are moving towards EVs. I would like to see a company like AutoZone, at least, I think the bare minimum that they could do is start incorporating EV charge stations at their facilities. I think that'll be a huge move for the company moving forward if they partner with a company like Blink, which I know is, partnering with like Burger King and a lot of other different companies to, do charging there. I think if AutoZone, brought EV charging to their facilities, it would solidify AutoZone for, the next 30, 40, however many years, just saying that, hey, we recognize that, EVs are continuing to grow. The electric vehicle is here, so we're going to have a charging station for those who want to, come and, learn about cars. I mean, they sell stuff there that, you don't have to have an EV to have. So when the air freshener, car wash, you still have to wash the vehicle if you have an EV car. So, there's a lot of practical items that they sell that would bring customers in if they did that. So, I'm not on the board of, AutoZone, which, I mean, I wouldn't mind being a board member, but I think that's something that should definitely be brought up to the company, and I think it's something that's probably being put on the table, but economically, you have to realize that, there are going to be less and less, cars out there with, needs that oil changes and, all this other tune-up stuff that regular auto vehicles need, and there are going to be more and more electrical car needs that are growing out there. So instead of, trying to do all the shift at once, then you can gradually say, okay, we're going to start with the electric charging station, and then we're going to start with, incorporating certain products that we know EVs need, and, so forth and so on, just to show that, hey, we're not completely, ending our business. We're adapting to changes, and that's how businesses grow. So going into the option side of this, we're going to type in AZO for AutoZone. We're going to go with this January 15th expiration date. In my opinion, I think that AutoZone has a lot of potential to continue to go up. Their business model, I think, is very good. I think that what they're doing is good business-wise. So I think, this 1,170 is definitely a mark that, I would want them to hit. So I'm going to say between this 1,170 to this 1,180 is definitely a metric I could see them hitting. Now, going down, above all these, I don't, foresee it hitting that. I would have to say it's something drastic like incorporating the EV charging stations that would make it dramatically raise like this. But I think if you go, with this section right here, this level right here is where it tested and it hit that high. I think it definitely could go back and touch that, and potentially, continue to run up to go back and touch this 1,180. So I think these two metrics, these two strike prices at this expiration are a realistic value. So you pay between $3,820 per contract to $3,310 per contract at the time of this video. Bear in mind, this is when the market is closed, so these are all stagnant prices based on when the market is closed. So going into the next one, but first, before I go to the next one, I do have a Patreon group. So if you want to go learn more about options, if you like videos like this, or you want to learn more about penny stocks, you want to get a watch list every week, talking about the different moves that I make or different moves that are out there with different catalysts on how they're going to be performing. Make sure you join that Patreon group down in the description below. And also, if you'd like to sign up for Webull, you can do that and get 4 free stocks. When you sign up with $100 or more. I have a link down below for that. So make sure you check those out. I think, the Patreon group is definitely going to help out a lot of people, more, I guess, connected to the Patreon. So if you have more questions, you can reach me better on there and, going more in depth on, how the stocks that I pick and the different, moves that are being made more real time. So if you like to do that, make sure you join that Patreon group in the description. So next, we're going to go to Broadcom. They are bullish at the time of this video. It looks like they had a dip right here where they went down, but they quickly recovered. So that's good. But they are bullish at the time of this video. Seems to be on a pretty high uptrend. VWAP is high as well, so that's good. They ended the week at $413.68, so they went up $2 after hours. So I would look for them on Monday for an early morning mover, just because of how high this went up after hours. Went up $2 whole. Background information on them. Broadcom's doing a whole bunch of different things. One of the main things I want to highlight on here from their financial news is that on the December 10th, they will be having their earnings. So it's their fourth quarter fiscal year 2020 financial results. So make sure you stay in tune for that. Always good information, when it comes to listening to, results, financial results. I definitely like to listen to them just because, I'm a numbers nerd. I like to listen to the numbers. But overall, company-wise, they're doing a lot of good things. I think they're expanding their business as a whole. And I think, we'll continue to rally getting closer to this Thursday, December 10th earnings date. So with that being said, going into the option side for Broadcom, we're going to try to stick with this January 15th expiration date. Now, some people may say, why do you always pick January 15th? I just think giving it a month, I like to have my options around a month time frame out, if not just 1 month, a couple of days after a month, time frame, because I think that's a realistic measure to see, when the stock will actually change. Now, I don't stop with just 1 month. I'll try to go a month plus. So if it's like at least a month, that's kind of my cutoff. But for expiration, I try to do a month plus. So going to 1 month, I'll try to add a little more time after that 1 month. So going into options on here, we can see that they have some calls for 420 to 450. So I think a call is probably the best option. Going to just to see, all the stuff that they're doing as a company. I think a call between 420 to 460 is realistic. In my opinion, I definitely think that they can hit those metrics, especially after earnings. But so you look to pay between $1,290 to $340 per contract. So that's what you'll pay at the time of this video. Bear in mind, this is at this 411 strike price, and it did go up to 413. So these may be a little more expensive when the market opens on Monday. So just bear that in mind. But overall, keep in mind these strike prices because they're stagnant. And this expiration is stagnant. So the price you pay may change, but these are stagnant. So these are the most important metrics to look at. This 420 to 460 metric and this expiration date. So lastly, we're going to go into the last one I have on here, which is FDX for FedEx. FedEx has been, pretty good in the past month. I think they definitely benefited from the pandemic. For them to be as high as they are, which is 298, touching this 298.94 metric, especially before their peak season numbers have come out, I think is a very good metric for them. They did fall down and test this moving average 100 line, so they fell and bounced off of this 286.12 and then came back and rallied back up. So that's good that they were able to test that and bounce back up off of that. A little alarming, but since they fell all the way through this 288.46, which was the moving average 50, and then fell all the way to this 285.88 metric, but they bounced back up and were able to rally back up after that. So that's good. Going into some information on them, it says they acquired ShopRunner, which is a company to help expand their e-commerce capabilities. So combined strength to enable brands and merchants to increase competitiveness and deliver end-to-end shopping experience to consumers. So basically, they're trying to jump into the e-commerce world or just help with the delivery of e-commerce, trying to, in my opinion, compete with a company like Amazon, which is like the king of e-commerce. But I like to see the fact that they're doing that. Also, I read some information that they're helping with delivery of the vaccines. So they have capability to fly different planes for delivery. They have vehicle fleets where they can drive different things to different places. So if that information is true, then I think they'll definitely benefit from this pandemic situation going on and help with their global logistics to help distribute that throughout the U.S. So going into the option side for FedEx, or type of ticker sign FDX, try out this January 15th date. In my opinion, I think that they could test 300 or 310. It's kind of, if you want to go buy out of the money option of 340, be my guest. I'm not telling you what to do or what to buy. I'm just saying, for me personally, I think between 300 and 310 is a more realistic value. Now I know some of these may be a little more expensive than others, but in my opinion, I think 300 to 310 is a more realistic measure. But I'll definitely like to see watch this how it behaves on Monday when the market opens. Seems to be like a little bit of selling off going on at the current moment, but I definitely believe that 300 is only like $6 away from this. 310, is not that far away from it either. So definitely going to be looking at, how this performs on Monday and going to keep it on my watch list. All right, so these are the picks for the week from my watch list. Hope everybody has a good week trading. Make sure you check out the Patreon group for the watch list that I have. And also, for the live streams, we're going to have some private live streams on there as well, going over stocks. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you check that out in the description down below. And good luck to everybody out there trading this week. Peace.